son of a bitch, Pepe. I'm trying to be professional here. Can you please just switch me over to the... Thank you. Thank you, Pepe. You son of a bitch. Pepe, don't move me up here. Don't move me up here. God damn it, Pepe. Move me back down. Move me down here. Move me down. No. Move me over to the left of the screen. Not the right, the left. God damn it, Pepe. What are you doing this morning to me? Oh, Pepe. Pepe, son of a bitch, Pepe. We're having a wonderful morning here on DG360. Hi, we're here live with the fam. If you're not here live, well, you should try and get here. We have a lot of fun. Elite Dangerous. I had this rant about Elite Dangerous. Oh, not even a week ago. About how they're steering away from the Dangerous, how, you know, they're basically abandoning all the console players. They wanted that money. They wanted that sweet, sweet cheddar. They wanted it, so they said, let's port it over to console, and they fucked the experience up for the PC players. PC players realized, hey, my graphics are worse, right? But they wanted that money because they wanted to port it over to those console players. And then they came out with a statement that said, sorry, console players, we're bending you over, and we're forgetting about you. Goodbye. That's what they did to the console players. Now the console players are pissed off. PC players are thinking to themselves, what is going to happen now? Are we going to go into a vacuum? Is development going to just go down the fucking tubes? I tend to think yes, but there are some people out there that are saying, no, DG, that is not what is happening. Now they're going to focus on the core development. Now that they've done what they've done, well, now they're going to focus on the core development. I will only believe it when I see it. And I said that to myself right after that rant. I literally saw those comments pouring it. And I said, listen, guys, I will only believe it when I see it. Now, not even a day later, this comes out. Jump sequence for fleet carriers and the interiors. We're going to go over what it looks like to jump a carrier. Okay, this is new gameplay. Also, we're going to see the interior of a carrier. I'm not quite sure exactly if you're able to walk around in it. I'm not quite sure exactly what the experience is going to be, but I wanted to check it out, and I wanted to see, hey, what is this new content from Elite Dangerous? Considering the fact that you still cannot fight with carriers, you cannot lose carriers, there's no risk to it, to owning one. There's plenty of advantage, like your jump distances, right? But there's no risk. Like, you buy a carrier, right? You can't blow them up. Could you imagine? That takes a lot of the fun away from fun things that we've watched in the past, like Battlestar Galactica. Can you imagine Adama flying around, not worried about Cylons? Can you imagine? This is Adama. Don't worry about it. Every battle station's down. You've been Adama'd. You've been Adama'd. Could you imagine Adama not giving a fuck about Cylons because his carrier's not going to blow up from a Cylon attack? That's basically what's happening in Elite Dangerous, okay? There's your fucking analogy. Okay, but, okay, that's fine. We're just going to sit back. We're going to relax. We're going to listen to the smooth ASMR tones of Obsidian Ants, and we are going to relax. Yes, let's watch as we see here jump sequence of fleet carriers and interiors.
This is Update 11 for Elite Dangerous Odyssey. It brings with it the much anticipated fleet carrier interiors, and I know one thing many people have wanted to see for quite a long while, ever since this was first announced actually, is the jump sequence. So we're going to take a look at that right at the start of the video. I'll go quiet so you can experience the full glory of that for yourselves. Once that's out the way, we're going to do a brief tour of the basic carrier without any services installed. So here goes that jump sequence. I'll shut up right now and be back in just a moment.
That's definitely a Harlock thing with the lightning, yeah.
Okay, exiting the hyperspace portal there was...
Gosh. Did you feel like, you know what, I kind of felt the same way. Like I got sat down, I had to buckle in, right? I got to buckle in, and then like, ooh, oh, like I didn't really feel it that way, or like I felt like there was gonna be like, you know, like it's a small world after all, it's a small world after all, it's a small world after all, it's a small world. That's kind of what I was feeling there.
Indeed, some stunning lighting sequences there. And of course, the audio department have really knocked it out of the park.
Audio is always good.
They always seem to manage to do that. So, nice touches there. With that jump sequence out of the way then, let's get on with a tour of the rest of the carrier. So, right now I don't have any additional services installed. In fact, the few that I do have installed are all deactivated. Meanwhile, additional features such as a shipyard and the spacebar.
This is kind of cool.
What else? The universal cartographics, all of those things, those are going to need to be installed. So I'm going to need to head to a fleet carrier administration star system in order to do that. So keep an eye out for that. We'll do that in the next video. In this video, though, I want to show you what a fleet carrier looks like in its default state. This, of course, then is the hangar bay. I've got my own ship there. You can have all your friends coming along on board your fleet carrier. Not sure what the limit is, in fact, here of the amount of ships that can actually be docked. Maybe it's been mentioned at some point, but if so, it's something I've completely forgotten. Elevators, then, work exactly the same as they do in the social space concourse on board stations. And,
yes, the special effect, comfy sofa, is from Back to the Future when you hit 88 miles per hour. That is the official news. That is the effect from Back from the Future when the DeLorean hits 88 miles per hour.
There we've got a layout of my fleet carrier, the Mithran. Elsewhere, we've got access to the command deck. That will actually be the commander's seat, which you saw me sitting in at the start of the video during the jump sequence.
I mean, this is actually pretty cool what I'm seeing right now. I dig it, except the fact that, you know, like, you cannot blow up in this ship ever. That you're completely safe within the confines of the carrier. It feels rather fake and store-bought to me. If there is an attack, there will be no red lights. There will be no, like, there will be nothing in terms of, like, feeling any danger in this game because your carrier cannot be blown up. It just cannot be blown up. And I know that many of us are feeling that, the lack thereof. Thank you. Yes, I'm a little hungover from last night's stream. We had a fun St. Patty's Day night last night. Thank you, Tech. We did.
Also got terminals here. We'll have a look at one of those in just a moment, but on the left, you can see a door where it says a service suspended.
Absolutely an effigy. Absolutely nothing.
You can see a few more up this way too. Another one right here on the
I know, Chrono. I know. Listen. Listen. Chrono's right. Like, you know, like I've been very, very against Elite Dangerous since Engineers. And it has a lot to do with the grindiness that they added. It has a lot to do with the grindy grind that they added. And, you know, a lot of PvP players, you know, again, you're going to get this a lot with Elite Dangerous in the community there. They're not big on PvP. You know, it's not built in a manner in which it supports large PvP battles. The servers really can't handle more than a few at the same time. There's plenty of like ways in which people exploit the PvP system. It's rather broken. You know, there's no attention being put on danger or that dopamine kick when it comes to like people saying, oh, space is dangerous. And I've always said that regardless if you're PvE or PvP, You want to make sure that when you're in a carrier that you could actually be blown up in one, or that some really crazy shit can happen to you because you're in space. And I feel like in the old days, that was there. In a lot of ways, more commanders in Elite Dangerous, myself included, felt more connected when there wasn't even walking around in ships, where our ship was literally us. We were so connected to the ship that we didn't need to walk around in ships. I mean, back in the old days, that's how Elite Dangerous felt. It felt dangerous, like you were connected to your ship. Anything could happen to you. You know, like danger was anywhere you went. And they've gone far left from that original thesis. So when Chrono's like, hey, be easy on them, at times I am. At times I'm just like, listen, I just got to let go a little bit and let the developers develop it. But every time I think it's going to go the right way, it goes the wrong way. It makes a complete left turn when I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? You guys are making this way too safe of an experience. Like, there needs to be some goddamn danger in space. When they made carriers like safe bases that nobody could fucking touch, or I mean, come on, guys. Seriously, like the analogy I used at the beginning, you're watching BSG, you're watching Battlestar Galactica. Adama's flying the motherfucking carrier all over the place trying to escape Cylons. Cylons come up and try and attack, and it's okay. Adama doesn't have to worry. Apollo doesn't have to go out. Starbuck doesn't have to go out. There doesn't have to be any fighting because it's fine. Nobody's blowing up the carrier. Now, come on. Who's watching that? Who's participating in that? Do you understand? Like, do we understand that analogy? Like, all this that we're seeing is great, but if I'm not feeling like space is all around me, if I'm not feeling that, like, oh shit, like something could happen, I don't feel like it's immersive. I don't feel like a lot of other people do either. And they've gone complete elite and no dangerous. And I've said this so many times. I'm glad they're adding new experiences. I completely think they completely boffed up this console thing where they ported a console and they made console players completely disconnected from the game. They tried to get that cheddar, they tried to get that cash. They ported it over to console. They got the console players playing, and then they said, "Oh, we're going to take it back away from the console players." They're just all over the fucking place in terms of development. They're all over the place. So maybe, hopefully, I can go constructive criticism on this and say, okay, now they are possibly focusing on the core gameplay. Possibly they're focusing on the PC player, the original backers of the game, the people who supported this, PC players. Maybe that's what they're doing. But they still need to put game development that supports danger, a less elite, more danger.
These would all become activated and opened up once the additional services.
Hey, Pez, welcome to the stream.
On the left and right now, we've got the escape pods.
And Effigy says Starbuck was hot. I'd still watch it.
Turn to home space. Let's say you go on a friend's fleet carrier or someone else's fleet carrier, and they take you right across to the other side of the galaxy. Now, maybe you don't want to be there. Maybe you don't want to be trapped there, or maybe you simply loaded in.
Thank you, Pez.
Docking on a fleet carrier many months ago, and find yourself many thousands of light years away. So in that event, you can use those escape pods to get yourself free.
Absolutely an effigy. Absolutely 100% an effigy.
Here we can finally sit down in these seats. Something I'm kind of surprised wasn't available right from the start. I don't really understand.
We got an A1 video on deck. We do, Pez. Not this one, but we got another one talking about PvP, which is great.
This is an MMO after all, an open world game, and generally it's a done thing that you can interact with seats and other such objects, but finally, that is an option for those that want to do it. All of those seats, of course, are there for everyone that wants to see the jump sequence. And actually...
Listen, I respect the fact that they continually add things, okay? Even with how they botched up, this whole development that I talked about last week, where Odyssey came out, it just flopped. Odyssey was a flop. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I was the first person saying it flopped. I was one of very few people that said it flopped when people started changing their mind because other people were like, what are you talking about? Odyssey didn't flop. There were a lot of like, you know, people who switched and said, oh no, you're right. It didn't flop. This is great. Not me. I continued to say this is still a flop. Now, months later, people are saying this is a flop. Odyssey's a flop. And I never switched once. I said flop from the very beginning. I stuck to flop. And I'm still saying flop, but here's what I want. And here's what I like. Okay. Now we're going to say here's what I like. I like that we're continuing to see some type of development. I like that we're walking around in stations now. I like this experience they're trying to develop with the character walking around. It's a new layer being added. I think they're not doing such a great job. I think the art in itself, it's a little bare bones. Like the art in itself looks, it could use a little pizzazz, if you know what I mean, a little gravitas, if you will, because I'm not really seeing like the art. Is very basic.
Again, that's something I'll show in the next
video. But again, that's kind of like the Elite Dangerous style, you know?
Sequence takes place, the game will teleport you to one and lock you in the seat for the remainder of the jump sequence. So, yeah, basically some type of limitation there that prevents players from walking around during the jump sequence. Saying that, I'd be very interested to know, I haven't tested it out, to see whether or not you can sit in one of these seats if you so choose, or whether the game will teleport you to.
Yeah, they need to have, like, I like that shot looking at the sun. That was kind of cool. The shot looking at the sun right there, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Professional says. I feel like Legs and ED needs to have a true meaning. They have to connect you to this FPS experience in the same manner that they did old school when you were connected with your ship. Old school, the flight mechanics on Elite Dangerous are phenomenal. Now, here's the good stuff about Elite Dangerous. The audio, superb. The flight experience, phenomenal. I love the physics. I love the flight experience in Elite Dangerous. And nothing made you feel better or more connected than the flight experience that Elite Dangerous offers you. To this day, still a great flight experience. And you feel connected to that ship, right? That connection that you still feel to this day is the same connection that needs to happen with the FPS experience. Pez says ED is just too slow paced for me. And I agree with you in terms of the amount of jumping, right? The jump, the same animated jump over and over and over. Grindy. Yes, Pez. With the absence of any humanity around you, with any gamers around you, it's all NPC AI, you jump, NPC AI, jump, same animation. Yes, it is too slow paced for me in that respect, Pez, absolutely. He says, I love the actual modeling of the actual Milky Way galaxy. Yes, as an amateur astronomer, I think it is cool to explore, but overall pacing is just slow. I love the exploration, but the exploration itself gets old as well. Right, Pez? Yes. After a while, that does wear off. It's empty system after empty system of nothing but NPC everywhere you go. And that is what they have to get away from if they want player retention. It's a simple formula. It is such a simple formula. I do not understand why Frontier Development and David Braben to this day, ever since they took a left turn on engineers, cannot figure out from day one that the only way they're going to have player retention is adding some danger, making sure that it feels like it's live. And then people go, well, it's space and there's 1 billion plus systems. It's so vast. It is so vast. And that is mind blowing, right? But it's not filled with gamers. It's not filled with gamers. Do you want player retention, Frontier Development? Add the fucking gamers in by making it feel alive and dangerous. What's up, Larry? How you doing, buddy? Larry the Lobster's here.
So choose, or whether the game will teleport you to one of the seats out here. At any rate, that is the ready room, the commander's quarters, or the commander's ready room. There's the commander's seat right here.
That looks fantastic. That's cool.
Navigation down at the bottom. Now, though we can walk down the ladders, down the stairs to those seats, the navigation seats.
Very basic, graphics kind of basic here.
This display is also non-interactable, but the one over here we can directly interact with, and it
very
takes us
cool.
to
Dig that.
and we get the
dig it. That's cool.
Right,
that is cool. I like that. Did you guys check that out? Check this out. This is cool. This I like.
Boom.
Carrier management.
Here, we can
boom.
Directly interact with, and it takes us to
like that
management.
Good touch. I'm giving them props on that.
Elsewhere around the carrier, we have these kiosks. Pretty much everyone, I do believe, can interact with these, and you get a very familiar looking screen. It does have some similarity to what you may find on a station.
Right.
You can see there's some surfaces. It's got a list of them. They're all greyed out at the moment, so unfortunately we can't visit them just yet. Something for in a moment. We'll be looking at that in the next video. And of course, we've got the fleet carrier management again, which I mentioned just now. And there's the services that I've got paused, and quite a few that I don't have installed. And that's simply because I don't use them and wanted to keep the money saved up.
Obsidian's got himself a carrier. I love it, dude.
Used for the moment.
Obsidian.
So there we have it, a demonstration.
What I do is I talk to myself in my ASMR tones in my carrier, and boy, the acoustics really get me off. I fap it all day long listening to my ASMR tones in my large carrier. I fucking love Obsidian. Obsidian's a cool dude, actually. Obsidian's a cool dude. All right, we're going to watch. You guys want to watch the tour or not? It's up to you guys. There's a tour of the carrier. I didn't know if you guys were up for it, if you want to see more of this or not. Personally, I feel like we touched upon everything. Perhaps we'll watch it on the next episode. I'm not quite sure. Like we want to keep going on with this. Maybe we'll just get back to the show. I put my 2 cents on what I think about this gameplay. I've talked about it to the extremes. I don't think I have anything else to add to this because a lot of people were saying, hey, DG, look, after your rant, they did add some new gameplay, like as if I inspired them to add the new gameplay, as if this had not been already in the works, right? There were some people in the comments who were like, DG, because you went off, they actually added new content. That's not how game development works. I would love to, have my ego stroked. I would love to think that because I went off on my rant that they said, oh, DG went off. We better put in new content. That's not how it works. That's not how game development works. Although some people do listen to this and they plan in, changes from the constructive criticisms, which is great. Zark says, Elite lost me the same way when they started adding the Thargoids. Yeah. Yes. They were either no danger at all, or you had to add them with a full party like you're playing WoW. Yes, they made it too grindy, Zark. How you doing, buddy? Great to see you this morning, man. Gonna be watching an Overclocked episode where I guess one of my tracks is on, which is awesome. So it's great to see Zark here, who's a contributor to the Star Citizen Machinima space. Very nice. Yeah, I think I've gone over till I'm blue in the face tech on what they need. Daddy Cash says, honestly, ED holds nothing for me. Hope the devs can put out content that keeps the player base going. Yes. And in order for them to do that, I will say this again. They need to talk about adding elements of danger that keep people coming back, that makes it feel immersive. They need to fix the PvP because it's completely broken. And PvP game mechanics, they need to focus on that as well. And they got to make sure that by doing this, they have player retention, and that when you're jumping from system to system, that there's actually other gamers that you can see around you and say, okay, this is an NPC. This is actually a gamer playing the game, so that it feels alive. Because when you're going around and you're seeing NPCs every system you jumped into, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. That's just not cool. Whew. All right. Back to the show here.